Tell us a bit about how you came to the name Another December.
Well, another December, I always thought of like another December is my birthday month. So I always thought of, wow, it's just another December. It's one of those things where it kind of rolls around and it kind of flies by. It's like, oh, there it was. It's come and gone, another December. And that's one thing I've always thought about, and it kind of shows in my music. It's like, oh, that's it. It's another December.
Okay. And then what brought the inspiration for the album Forever?
Well, I'd say roughly about, I think it's honestly a little bit more, over a year and a half now, I believe. A girl I dated for a good amount of time, me and her broke up, and it was kind of rough on me, at least to a degree. Kind of not the best way of going about it, but I've created those songs from even while we were dating, and some of them, a lot of most of them afterwards, and that was kind of really what built the album. It's an album of forever, in quotations. It's just a lot of things that were going on through my mind, a lot of things of getting over it and trying to work past that, and just a bunch of relationship hoopla, really.
Okay. So obviously you write a bit like based on what you experience in life. So can you tell us a little bit about the actual process for writing, like going from an idea or a concept in your head to actual words and notes on a
Most of the time, it's just me starting out with an idea of chords. I play chords. Sometimes I'm in the car and I'm just coming up with lyrics on my own. I'm having things where I'm singing lyrics to myself in my head, and a melody may come along. It's usually forgotten by the time I actually roll around to the lyrics. But I'm trying to type in them as fast as possible in my notes. Sometimes I just get a recorder going and start playing chords, humming a little bit over it, maybe like a riff here and there, and it kind of starts from there. I move it all over to my DAW and pretty much just kind of build off of that until it sounds honestly something solid. Some things get removed, some things get changed. Sometimes it builds up from where it was and goes up and down and all around. It's honestly insane process sometimes where songs I've started thinking that was going to be insane, and maybe it was a acoustic ballad turned into like down turned into from an acoustic ballad to full blown country slash blues kind of sound. It's honestly, you don't really expect what it's going to turn into at the end.
okay. So with that said, obviously each song is its own animal, and the process of building it is different. But in general, considering your workflow being in a bedroom studio, and obviously having equipment but not having additional people there to assist you with recording, or being one person playing all instruments, what is your sort of process like in terms of actually recording the song? Are we talking drums first, then guitar first, or is it just kind of whatever's in your hand at the time?
Well, mostly, at least to get the timing down, I start out with MIDI drums. I try to lay out MIDI drums. They, for as far as I can go, I try to get the song structure as close to what the final product is going to be as possible. Kind of move it out as much as possible, see how far it goes, try to at least kind of hit the roughly 150, 2 minute mark and kind of have it going. It's just basic, four on the floor, keeps my timing in. Guitars right after that. It keeps everything kind of going because most of the time I have the chords first. So I'm using the chords to build out the song from there. After that, sometimes I just kind of play out stuff. A lot of times if I have the guitar in my hand, I'm doing lead maybe some rhythm, like backup rhythm. Uh, After that, I usually kind of switch over to either bass or synth, depending on what the chords were. Sometimes I go for a lead on synth, just like maybe like a little 4-bar line, something quick, something simple. But with bass, I try to get a good bass line that kind of flows throughout the whole song. Like that's pretty much the next thing that I lay down as fast as possible. A lot of the time, it's building the song before I even put lyrics on it or in like vocals. That those are usually the last things next to which this year I've been learning actual acoustic drums, and that was the one thing that I've really didn't really excel at too much, and that's why I was kind of like the last minute, like pretty much I'd say probably 2 weeks before the album, 2-3 weeks before the album came out, I was still recording drums on a lot of the songs. There's two that still have MIDI drums. I think it's Fight For Me and I Know You're Listening have MIDI drums, but the rest are actual acoustic drums. I recorded myself, and that was usually, those and vocals are always the last.
Okay. So, who inspires you most as a musician or songwriter? Or can you give us a top three in terms of just not necessarily who you're basing your music on or who you're inspired by sonically, more on the artistic side? Who do you look to the most to figure out what the tropes and the rhyming schemes and all of that?
Well, honestly, it's probably not the best person to say. Like, the only reason why I started music around, like, early beginning of 2019, I found out a band called Negative XP. Not the best known, obviously, for a lot of really bad reasons, but he would always, it's one person, he would always stream a lot, showing his process of, oh, hey, I have this audio interface. I plug it into Audacity, and I do this and that, and showed his process. And that really is what led me, after listening to his music, led me to pick up the guitar, pick up the bass, and learn instruments for myself. Learned a lot of his music because it's simple. It's like the most like basic 4-chord and nothing else. Pretty much like synth once in a while. I know it's not the best music to get like into, and a lot of people don't really like it, but I would honestly be able to like say that everything that I've learned musically and like from a software standpoint was from Negative XP, and it's the only reason why I make music. It's not something that I'm like 100% proud of, because I know he's, again, I'm not the best in the whole scheme of things, a lot of drama and issues and controversy and things like that. But I wouldn't be making music if I never listened to any of his music. And I would say that's probably the biggest inspiration, like, off of what I base my process off of, because it always goes down to either that 4-chord, basic, indie rock, punk kind of sound that always keeps me going, like it with synth, very video game-esque. Same with like the lyrical content. It's kind of like it's what I'm dealing with at the time. A lot of things that just going through your head, trying to get things out, and that was probably the biggest person that I could say is a big inspiration to my whole process, really.
Okay. So, what's in the future for Another December? Obviously, you just released another single following the album, but should we expect another album this December or anything sooner, anything later, any big plans for the project?
Well, obviously, I Give Up just came out literally today, well, yesterday now. Just a single I came out with in 3 days. I really didn't expect that I was going to make something so fast and have something out. I was I plan on promoting the album more as much as possible, trying to actually be out there instead of just everything happens in December, and then I kind of go radio silent and like singles from here and there. Like I actually plan on trying to like these CDs are going to be coming out for forever on Bandcamp sometime soon. I'm still working on the process. There's roughly I have about 8 that I have done, and it's a long process. It's a lot to do by yourself. I wish I kind of bit off more than I could chew with on that one, but it's something that they will be available hopefully in the next upcoming weeks. Like hopefully by end of January they are up there and there's a decent stock for people who would want those. And I plan on releasing at least Growth, if anybody has heard that, on SoundCloud. Plan on bringing that to streaming services, Spotify, YouTube, YouTube Music, Apple Music, and all the other places that you guys know and love. That was a really good song that I made, and I think that is one of something that could define my genre or define my brand of what my music is all about. Obviously, there's still going to be things on SoundCloud that might not reach over there at some point. Maybe they will. Old albums, old EPs might make their way. Hopefully redone and a lot better. Maybe better artwork, things like that. For an album this year, I am not 100% sure. If things are done and there's an actual like drive to get those done by the end, because this is probably like Forever was probably the biggest like album so far that I've done, where I've worked crazy amount of hours into, and all the work with the CDs, the videos on trying to promote and things like that. It was a lot, and it was good. I'm glad that I did it, but I want to try not to wear myself out by doing an album every single year again like I have, because sometimes that leads to me not having things done. That's kind of where Plugged In came from. It was just a bunch of electronic music I had on the backlog and things that I was just like, well, I really don't want to do something else because I have a bunch of stuff that's on the backlog that's really good. I want to kind of save that for something that's better, which 2 of those are what you hear on Forever. I think it's Down, and Trying Too Hard was one of those songs that I've had for at least like a year or 2 before this album released. I plan on trying to actually, I just don't want to burn myself out on doing an album each year. If it's done, if there's something that's done by the end of the year and it's solid and I have the artwork done and everything's all solid, yeah, by many means I'm going to have an album out this year. But I really just plan on doing singles for a while, maybe trying to do bi-yearly releases. So next year I would definitely be getting out on the grindstone and working really hard to do an album.
Okay. And keeping it short and sweet, is there anything that you would like to tell people out there? Doesn't have to be about music, doesn't have to be about anything specific, just general, anything people should know?
I would say just try to put yourself in other shoes. I guess that's the best way to say it, is we're in a stage of honestly panic sometimes with things in the news and things that you hear from day to day, social media, things like that. It's a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, seems like it's trying to just fearmonger. And yes, there is real issues that are going on that we should be worrying about, but the one thing is try your best not to attack people for what they believe in and what they are passionate about in the best way possible, because we're in a kind of stage where everybody's divided no matter what it is. Creed, race, like anything that you could think of, there is always somebody who is going to try to kick you down for what you believe in, and just I'd say just try your best to take it with a grain of salt. Try to see another person as a human, and you may have your differences, and you may be able to get angry at them. I say that if sometimes you should be able to get angry, but just remember that we are all humans, and we're really fighting a bigger beast that we should be dealing with.
All right. Well, thank you much for your time. Obviously, yeah, we will be on the lookout for anything new that's coming out, especially, again, the physical releases. Definitely looking forward to those. And yeah, this has been the interview with Dean of Another December.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming.
And